I'll do the demo, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts, comment, feedback after showing you the demo, and then how I extended the open innovation platform. Then and people will join from our community throughout the session. Sounds good? Okay, perfect. So I'll share my screen now. Okay, so this session is our possibly our number 20, and for this session we specifically we're doing a demo on how we're extending our GST bot platform to a very specific use case, and that is Enterprise Singapore Open Innovation Network, right? So we're going to show how we're extending our platform to this very specific network, right? So my name is Adrian, I'm founder of GST. GST, we're a global community. We have organized 100+ events across the world with the purpose to link up emerging tech communities. And our purpose and mission as a community is to think about how technology can solve the most pressing problems, right? Specifically in emerging tech communities. And last week we had our session on how, through our GST platform, we're basically putting a repository of problems and insights. So as I mentioned, we're a global community, but we've been really focusing on creating a platform for which not only our community, but also partners can have this platform to engage your community, to work on interesting problems, find solutions and insights, learn new skills, and also collaborate with other people with complementary skills in other parts of the world, right? So the way the platform is structured, we create a repository of problems, and we insert those in the repository, and basically our community can go and solve those problems in our chatbot. So we are matching problems with our community of solvers. So now I'm going to show you the actual demo. So this is live demo. This is a live application for which I can share with you here on the chatbot. This is the web version. So the chatbot, it's on Telegram, right? So the first thing I'm going to show you, this is our own chatbot, right? Our Solvers chatbot, and this is the name Solvers Bot, right? So obviously, with this platform, we have inserted problems and solutions, right? So, for example, here, as you can see, we have a taxonomy of all the problems we have sourced from our community and partners, right? So this is our bot, but I'm not going to do a demo of our bot. What I'm going to do is do the bot of the Open Innovation Network, which is the extension we created as a demo purpose, right? So here we can see Enterprise Singapore. I'm going to show you the screen here. Enterprise Singapore have the Open Innovation Network, which its goal is to, it's an initiative to connect. I'm going to show you here because it's better described by them. So it's a one-stop directory of challenges, and community partners, startups, enterprise with an idea and technology can use the OINet to search for relevant challenges to participate. So it's this website, the purpose is to have people to submit challenges, and obviously people submitting solutions to those challenges, right? So what we trying to do with the demo is to actually put all of this into a chatbot and start generating, basically insert all that data, and also allow this network to connect with our GST network and other partner networks, right? So it's gonna be a bit more clear once I start. Well, I just want to quickly show you that in this website, they have a list of innovation challenge. They have ongoing challenges, past challenges, and share your innovation challenge, right? So people who come to the website, they can submit their innovation by going through this form, right? So we're basically replicating what they did here, but we're doing it in a chatbot. And the data gathered, it's inserted into a database, and that database could be, all that data could be cross-pollinated to the rest of our communities. So I'm going to show you now how we created the chatbot. So first, it's Open Innovation. So if I start the application, first thing is, welcome to the Open Innovation Network Bot powered by GST Solver platform, right? So right now we have three options, which are view ongoing challenges, view the past challenges, and share your innovation challenge, right? So right now I'm going to view ongoing challenges. So what we did here is we mapped, they have a bit more ongoing innovation challenge. I think they have 10 more, but at least we put like this first 7. So we mapped those innovation challenges and we inserted them into our platform, right? So I'm just gonna navigate it like a the VCA ESG joint challenge by the Construction Authority VCA in Enterprise Singapore. This is the application date from August until 15 September. And here's the description of the challenge and the more details, right? So obviously you can go into this website and check more of what's going on in here. Obviously, the whole point here is like people can submit an insider solution to this potential challenge, right? So, but right now I'm not going to check that. I'm going to keep browsing. So I'm going to check this one, Huawei, because at least Huawei Innovation Challenge seems pretty interesting. So application deadline instead of August, 4th October. So it's a Huawei Spark startup competition, separate deep tech startups globally partnered with Slingshot 2020, right? So it's more details here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to submit, provide a solution, right? So now the bot is asking me, okay, do you have a solution or contribution to this challenge, right? Specific. So I provide a solution or idea, right? So right now I'm just going to insert dummy text, right? I'm just going to say, okay, we have a deep tech solution that focuses on mesh networks, and we currently have 50,000 users and growing. Just obviously it's dummy data, right? So I'm going to submit that. And then if the next thing that the application does is creates tags around what I said, deep tech networks currently have. So basically creates tag out of the solution that I inserted, right? But then I can add more tags. So deep tech, mesh network, mesh network. I'm just going to insert those 2 extra tags, right? So basically the system has added this insight, and what it did actually, Benjamin, he joined the session. Benjamin is part of Enterprise Singapore. So for this specific challenge, I added Benjamin's email, right? So he will get an email right now saying, oh, somebody submitted a potential solution for this challenge, right? And so he will be notified, and potentially he will get an email and with the link to my Telegram account, so he can direct message me and continue conversation and or ask me more questions and so on, right? But then, so that's in terms of like, the ongoing challenges, right? But now what we're going to do is like share an innovation challenge, right? So I'm going to share a dummy innovation challenge. So imagine I'm from, I don't know, I think Itaú. Actually, this is somebody we're actually speaking with. They have tons of challenges as well, right? So Itaú Cubo, which is, they're part of, they're in Brazil. So imagine Itaú Cuba, they want to submit a challenge to Open Innovation Network. So they have a green tech innovation challenge. So, so this is the description. I have some long-winded description here. I can use. Hold on. Don't have. Okay, let me just put. Okay, so I'll just put the goal of this challenge is to find green tech startups in all of startups and scale-ups in Latam who are ready to pilot their projects. Right? Something just very simple. And then it's asked me for the URL. So I'll just put Itaú Cubo website, which is this one here. So I'll just put it here. The next thing it asks me is, the date, open, close dates. So I'll just put like starts, say tomorrow, 22nd.
So so this is just transferring the form into using Telegram as an input and output method, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what's the advantage over this? Because we target enterprises and startups, not individuals as problem statement owners or as solvers. So I would imagine that most organizations would prefer a form, and there isn't really, at least I'm not able to see the advantage of using a chatbot over a traditional HTML form.
Well, because the problem with the HTML form is the data, right? Meaning you have an Excel, like the output is an Excel sheet, and that data most of the time stays in an Excel sheet, and the goal here is to basically use that data for other potential communities to submit insights to these challenges, but all of it happening automatically, right? So we're trying to automate the fact of, when there's a challenge, people from not just our community, but other partner communities can get notified and can easily come in and basically share their insights and gather that data, like one specific solution or insight, and gather that data that could be used as potentially sharing that insight to another community, right? So maybe this solution might not be used for this challenge, but that solution could help somebody else to, get some insight. So we're trying to gather the data to be
but if that's the case, if that's the case, it's just linking at the database level. I don't think that for the type of event that we hold, or for the type of people that we seek to attract, that a chatbot is the way to find to capture the data.
Okay.
Yeah, and besides, when your data is captured through the chatbot, it is also put into a database. The only difference is that you tag the keywords, and then you try to cross-link them. That's what I see. That can be done on a traditional database as well, right?
Yeah, of course. But obviously, what we're doing here is, this data, it's linked into our chatbot, right? So here, when people come into our chatbot, they can see, they can immediately see and be notified of new challenges because the data could be linked, So the whole idea is to link the data to other communities, so they are notified and share problems and share insights, right? So that's the advantage over, one website, one form. It's just like a silo data, right? It stays there, And unless people find your website, they don't know what's going on inside, right? So that's the whole point, right? The cross-pollination and notification between ecosystems and between different actors in different parts of the world, right? And basically we can do that with the chatbot, right? So obviously you can see it might not be an advantage from the point of view of
So you're saying that the chatbot would receive more hits than our website? Is that what you are?
No, I'm saying with the chatbot, you can basically, number one, gather more insights from different ecosystems, and two, notify people automatically of new challenges, right? So that's the advantage, because when a website is like, nobody knows when there's like a new challenge, right? Because there's no notification systems in place on a website unless you tweet about it, right? Unless you tweet about it or like send a link or, you know, the traditional social media stuff, right? But it's not, nobody's following OIN network. They don't know, right? So the idea is like, you know, for us to connect to the rest of our networks when there's the open calls, right? And say with the insights, you know, like tell them, okay, there's the interesting open innovation, like interesting challenge. Check it out, and we notify a whole network.
I think that for corporate related matters, email is a more established form of communication, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I believe that's what we are doing now. I'm not entirely sure, but if you have registered and you say I want to be notified of future challenges, you receive a newsletter when it comes out.
Are you there? You cut out.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, so you're saying the newsletter? The newsletter?
Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry, I just didn't get your question again. What was our question? Is just talking about newsletter and being notified.
I'm saying that based on so chatbots are great when you want to reach consumers, when you want to reach individuals.
Yeah.
But for us, it's really corporates and startups that are target clients for this open innovation network.
Yep.
And I think email is a more established form of communication where people receive the information at a channel where they want to look at this kind of info, no?
Well, I can tell you from startups, they definitely don't. I mean, email, the point is the chatbot connects to all forms of communication, right? So the chatbot sends emails. People can respond to the email. Like the chatbot is just the interface, right? The whole point is managing the data, right? And that's why we don't have a website, because websites are just like pages, right? So the whole about the chatbot is like an easy way to gather the data and manipulate the data and do actions, right? So basically, the chatbot can send emails. It doesn't have to send notifications on Telegram. The chatbot can actually send emails, right? Because it captures the email here. Chatbot actually asks for the email when a new user comes, and it can notify everybody through email, right? And people can respond to that email as well, you know? So email is integrated as part of it. The chatbot is just sort of the trigger point and like user interface, right? But it's all integrated by email. For example, when somebody submits an insight, somebody will get notified by email. And when somebody could submit the challenge, the people who are subscribed or interested in a specific tag and location will get notified by email, right? So then the communication could be by email as well, right? So, yeah.
Now you're making the chatbot sound like an additional step.
Additional step to what?
To whatever that we're trying to achieve.
Not an additional step. Is like the way it is basically a website and a form is just static data that is just sitting there, right? So with the chatbot is actually utilizing that data.
What your chatbot is doing is taking the same questions, asking for the same inputs, and you have to fill it in a very restricted order, right? Which is what you're demoing to me now.
Yes.
What is the right? Whereas if for form, I get to see all the data that I need to fill and then I can fill everything at once, and I can go in any order. At the end of the day, you capture the same information.
Yeah,
So
of
there
course.
isn't really advantage of the chatbot. And also a form, I think is easier to input data on a form than via text.
Right. Yeah, like I said, again, if you have a form, you get an Excel sheet. And an Excel sheet, you need to actually create a script if you want to put into a database. And once you put in a database, you need to create code and have like an application to actually manipulate that data, right? So that would imply you need to basically invest several $1,000s just to have a simple application that you can manipulate that data, right? Otherwise, you have to do stuff manually. So this is my point, is automated the stuff that you have to do manually, meaning you're gonna have to take the Excel sheet, whatever you want to do with that sheet, you know, and then basically read it and then send emails manually. So it's like automating the process, right? Instead of somebody looking at the Excel sheet and then, okay.
Yeah. But your automation is at the back end, is not on the chatbot. Your chatbot is just a means, a form, right?
Yeah, so because obviously we need to get the data somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so the point is automating the process of communication, right? And the notification. The chatbot is just the means to gather, to trigger the action, right? So yeah, imagine somebody submits the innovation call, then you will get, you need to do like an Excel sheet, and then you need to look at the person, then you need to send them an email, write them an email, they respond the email. So we're trying to automate all of that, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the goal that we have, and the goal that what your chatbot is trying to achieve is very different. For you, it's really as much cross-pollination of ideas and insights as possible. For us, I believe it is something where we have to qualify every challenge that comes up and every startup that says I have a solution.
Yes.
Rather than straight away connecting, I have a solution, there are a few keywords that match, and let anybody connect to anybody without first qualifying either party.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I see. Interesting. And so how's the process of qualifying? Like, how long does it take usually?
I have no idea. I'm not in the team that looks at that.
Okay. I see. Okay, cool. Any more questions, Ben, you think? Or in terms of
But
like,
I would say that based, if I were a user, I would definitely rather enter the data, the same data that's captured via a form. At
okay,
least for it's a two or three clicks rather than needing to format it in a specific manner.
okay,
And I can look at all the fields that I need before I start,
right,
and I exactly have to go in a certain order.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point in terms of the order, the visual effect, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And yeah, but regarding the data and the mesh, you know, cross-pollination and that, you think staying in a, you know, do you not think there's an advantage instead of doing the silo old school way of, you know, manually, there will be an advantage of, okay, you go through the non-visual effect, but at least you get to notify networks automatically. What's your take on that?
I think that that's not the issue of how you collect data. So a form and a website will still work very well.
Okay.
It's what you do with the data and who you connect with and how you connect with them. I would say chatbot is really, in this case, is input output. You input some info, you get some output. You say, I want to look at this. But a website, a form is more established and something that everyone is more comfortable with. And then after that is what you do with the data. So
okay, yeah. Yeah, of course, more established, but again, like I said, is static data, right? So because, you know, there's still, you need to manipulate the data manually, the Excel sheet, right? And, you know, considering you're going to have many challenges managing all that, those Excel sheets, And even if you want to automate and do anything, it's going to be a painful process, because even if you want to build more of a robust platform, you're going to have to input all that data anyhow, right? From the Excel sheet, import into a database, and then from there build an application on top of that database, right? So we're trying to basically shortcut all of that with the chatbot, right? Considering, okay, that might be might be not for some people it's easy to go through the visual form, but yeah, we're trying to shortcut that. Actually, somebody asked, can your application be used to develop Q&A functionality for students to get responses to their concern? Yeah, of course, it can. Joel, thanks for the question. And actually, Joel, what kind of Q&A functionality for students you're thinking about?
Okay. Well, right now, students would have various concerns about their learning, about their state of mind, about school matters.
Okay.
So we'd like to automate this, come up with a thought, develop one based on the commonly asked questions and issues. And my question is how easy using your software can this be done?
Well, depends of the type of concerns and Q&A, right? So basically the idea is of this chatbot, as Ben mentioned, right, is to cross-pollinate, to basically help link up communities, right? So one community has a problem, the other community can know about it and submit an insight, and vice versa, right? So cross-pollination, share information between communities, right? So that's the goal of the platform, right? And what you mentioned is a very specific use case, right? For which capturing data from students, right, and automate it. Obviously, yep.
Well, it can come from, say, I'm working in a college in a university.
Yep.
This university has about 24 colleges. So each college, of course, may have students raising their concerns
Yep.
or having issues. So yeah, so there's several communities.
Right.
So that there could be several communities with their own stakeholders or students
Yep.
needing answers to questions that they're raising.
Yeah, so in that case, obviously it could be useful, but I think the most interesting use case would be if we can replicate this function, this chatbot function, to other communities, So meaning
Yes,
that
that's
both
what.
communities can benefit from one another by inputting the data, like Benjamin say, input output, right? And
Precisely. Yeah.
yes, and benefit from that input output, right? Instead of like just having the data static somewhere in an email or an Excel sheet, right? And make it the data dynamic. That's the whole purpose. But no, obviously it could be done, and I guess we can have a further conversation on it, and see if
Sure.
it fits for sure. So if you can share your email, Joel, and
Okay.
definitely, yes, you can share your email, Joel, on the chat. That'll be perfect.
I'll do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's the extent of the demo, Ben. So any more thoughts, questions, so we can wrap up?
No questions for me.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ben, for the feedback. And I think for us it was useful to extend it and see how hard it would be for us to extend the chatbot. Considering we have a platform, and it didn't take that long. It was like a few hours to actually create this, on our side. So we can definitely replicate this for other communities for sure.
I would say if you want to pitch to us, pitch the cross-linking of the database at that level would do. I think the chatbot is just input-output that is distracting us from whatever that you are trying to show.
Cross-linking, yeah, making the data useful and
Yeah, at the
cross-pollination.
database, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And no, I think that's a goal, right? That's actually the goal. But obviously, the visuals of how do you of cross-pollinating the data, you need the specific output, right? By saying, okay, we have this data set, we match it. What's the output, right? So obviously, yeah, I see your point. But yeah, you got to definitely, you have a point for sure. No, but thank you for that. Definitely, will be useful to focus more on the cross-pollination, and then just on the chatbot itself. I mean, the chatbot itself is the input-output, right? But I guess mentioning that is useful for sure. Okay, Ben, thank you so much. And everybody else, if you guys
Thanks, Adrian.
have any questions, please shoot it on the chatbot. If not, we're going to wrap up just to make a short, sweet session. Yes? Okay, I have
Right,
Joe's
thanks.
email. Okay, thank you so much, Ben. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining, and talk to you soon.